Hello, hello, and welcome to Whispers of Inner Power. We're here for another interview for highly sensitive women in business. I'm meeting today with Kathleen, HSP practitioner. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kathleen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to chat with you. I love everything you've been doing with empowering women and sensitive women in business, because that's who I am too. So, yeah, I really appreciate being here with you.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'm excited too because we've been going back and forth into notes and commenting in each other's notes and on Substack. I feel like you're my friend already.
Yeah, that's what Substack feels like. Like we just become friends with people. And I just saw Calibrated Chaos, thank Gabby, saying, "Hey, Kathleen." It's just like we get to know people and we get to read their thoughts, and it's amazing.
Yeah, in a way, I feel that no other platform allows us to do. I have been off social media for 2 years now. It's not for my nervous system, does not agree with that. And I feel it's completely different here. And I mean, even if notes can feel like sort of a social media
Mhm.
feed, I never feel that I have to stay there longer than I want to, and we can just, interact with each other a bit, and it's done. And if for a few days you don't want to go, I feel like it's fine. But maybe other people will say, "No, it's not fine. You have to post 5 times a day."
Of course.
I think it's fine.
It is fine. It is fine. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that today about actually listening to what you really need versus what everyone else is telling you you should do. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So tell us a bit more about you, what you do, and how you came to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good first question. So yeah, I mean, you introduced me as an HSP practitioner, so I can kind of share the journey on like what does that actually mean? What is
Yeah.
HSP? How did I get there? Um, and so I guess like going way back, let's just start way back. Why not? I always knew I was a little bit different. I felt like I was trying so hard to fit in. And I was able to fit in because I was always trying so hard. I was achieving, I was doing all the right things. I got good grades. I went to a good school. I got a good job. And I stayed in that very stable corporate career for over 10 years. I got married, started a family. And so I was able to do all of that with a sense of this is hard, this is exhausting. But I kept going because that's all I knew. That's what
Mhm.
I was told to do. That's what I was told was successful and what life is like. And I really just didn't want to be different. I just wanted to be accepted. Um, and then when I became a mom a few years ago, so I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, I tried to keep up with that same principle of, okay, I have to do everything right. I wanted, to be an A+ mom. I wanted to be seen as a good mom and I wanted to be a good mom. And so I kept, I guess, outsourcing my knowledge. So I would obviously Google everything constantly, like what's going on, what's wrong, is this normal, is this not normal? And I really just wanted somebody to hand me a blueprint. Like, what exactly do I need to do to take care of this baby? And there really isn't a blueprint because every baby is different. Like, every human is different. And especially with my daughter, I learned, it was actually my therapist who directed me to the book Highly Sensitive Child by Elaine Aron, um, because my daughter just responded differently than I expected. She had some pretty intense feeding troubles. She had super big emotions. She just seemed more sensitive to things than other babies did. And so I was struggling even more to understand what was going on. And so reading that book, The Highly Sensitive Child, started opening up my perspective to say, okay, there's a different world out there. There are people who aren't maybe who everybody says we need to be. They feel the world differently. They feel the world more deeply, which can come across as a bad thing when it's not supported and embraced, but can actually be a truly beautiful thing when you are in the right environment and you are listening to your sensitivities. And so at the time, I accepted that my daughter was highly sensitive. I embraced it. I wanted her to feel loved for exactly who she is, but I didn't accept it for myself at first. I actually thought, I was like, she triggers me because we are so different. I'm not sensitive. I'm not sensitive. Don't be too sensitive. I'm not sensitive, which now I look back, I'm like, okay.
She
There
triggers
is
you
some
because you are.
exactly. Exactly. Um, and so, during my maternity leave in Canada, very lucky to have, I took 14 months for maternity leave. And during that time, I was experiencing some signs of burnout. I was feeling disconnected. I was exhausted all the time, no matter how much rest I was getting. And I just like push aside, saying, this is normal. Every mom is exhausted. And I'm just going to go back to my corporate career. And somehow everything's going to be okay. I'm going to be working, paid work full time, and be a mom. And I also had a long commute. And I just thought, hey, everything's going to be okay. About 8 months into after returning to work, that's when I just collapsed from burnout. I remember just not being able to even like think. I I would think about going to work and just even attending meetings, and I started crying. I just couldn't handle it. I was like, why can't I just go to work? This is something I've been doing for years. Why can't I just do it? And it reached the point where my body said, no, like you have to stop. You have to give yourself rest. You have to slow down. And so I ended up taking a medical leave from work. And like all things, I tried to optimize that leave. I tried to do all the right things. I wanted to feel better fast. I was like, okay, I'm going to, do all the right things, all the wellness things. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat really well. I'm going to rest. I'm going to do, I just like was going to do all the things. And I ended up feeling worse. I
Mhm.
got sick, like really sick, which was pretty common for me. I was sick every couple weeks, which was a sign that my body was
Wow.
burning out. And I got even more sick once I went on leave. And is because when you finally stop, and we were talking a little bit about this, you and I, when you finally stop and you give your system a chance to finally feel everything it's been carrying, it's going to let you know what it feels. Like it's like, okay, you're giving me the chance. Let's let it all
There you
out.
go. I
Um,
deliver.
yep, yep. And it wasn't until a friend who had also gone through burnout, but a couple years prior, just kind of suggested like, well, what if you actually just slowed down and really did nothing, like did actually as little as possible, like don't push your body to work out if it doesn't feel like it, don't push yourself to do anything if you don't feel like it. And that was kind of like the turning point for me. I mean, I was also in therapy and I was finally peeling back the layers of understanding how much I was living based on other people's expectations and how much I was overriding my sensitivities.
Mhm.
Like thinking about I was in an office from 9 to 5, back to back meetings, fluorescent lighting, cold space. Like it's horrible for a sensitive nervous system and system. It really is horrible. And I just finally accepted and started to be able to hear what I needed. Like when I actually
Mm.
slowed down, tried to take as many distractions away as possible, and it was very uncomfortable, don't get me wrong. Like I wanted the distractions. I wanted to be doing something. We have those parts in us that say, okay, you should be doing more. But when I kind of stripped all that away and I was able to finally hear myself, that's when I realized how much of my life, yeah, I just hadn't been living true to me. And that I wanted to do something meaningful with my life as well. And It's interesting. So HSPs are highly sensitive people. There's this belief that many HSPs are almost meant to go through a challenge or almost a
Mm,
crisis,
mm.
because then you're meant to support other highly sensitive people who are going through that same
Oh, wow.
experience.
I feel so called out.
I figured you would. I figured you would. Um, I think there's a lot of people here, like on Substack, who might feel a similar way as well. Like you see so many people talking about what they want to do that is based on their experience. Now they want to help other people go through the same thing. So now I want to help other women, other sensitive women who are feeling exhausted, feeling burnt out, even if they won't admit to themselves that they're feeling burnt out because we tend to minimize their experiences.
Yeah.
But if you're getting a sense that something is off, I want to help other women come through that and reconnect with what they really need instead of suppressing their needs. Um,
Mm.
and so last year, I was just looking at ways I could actually do that. I love being a manager, people leader in my corporate career. I love empowering women. And then I determined like, hey, I want to become really knowledgeable and highly sensitive people. I want to support them. And that's when I became certified to be a practitioner for highly sensitive people. And that's what I've been doing now.
Wow. There I
Mhm.
have
That was a long
so many
answer.
points that I want to react to. Thank you
Yeah,
so
that
much
was long.
for sharing. No, it's a rich story and rich journey, and very interesting to see, how you've come to where you are today and everything that you had to go through. And I recognize myself in a lot of what you were saying. I was not in corporate. I was always my first career was as a teacher. It's already kind of a way to be more with people and less in this corporate environment. I was in corporate for like a year and a half. It was horrible. I was in depression after that.
Yeah.
But I really like how you underlined as well, what it means to be highly sensitive. I think it's also something that is often misunderstood. Oh, it means that you have a lots of emotions, but we all have emotions. We're all
Mhm.
human. We're all sensitive beings. You cannot say some people are sensitive, some people are not. We're all sensitive. But when you're highly sensitive, you have this deeper way of being in relation with the world. There are things that are somehow more triggering, and you talked about the lights, and for me it's something that's always been present since I was a kid. If the light is not right, I'm just not I don't feel safe.
Mhm.
Something's gonna happen. I remember this light in the hallway of my home when I was a kid, like when that light was on, I felt something's gonna happen and it's not something good. And so I was already in hypervigilance, and the hypervigilance is part of it.
Mhm.
Sounds, for me, one thing is touch, for instance. If someone touches me, my son is highly sensitive. My son triggers me a lot.
I get
Because we
it.
have like opposite things. I feel also like, oh my God, like how are you triggering me so much? Because he looks for touch.
Mhm.
But he touches me constantly and I'm just like,
Yeah.
just leave me alone, And I resonate so much with what you said because I felt that part of me feeling better, but I want to say just having a better life, really, a day-to-day life
Mhm.
has come through first acknowledging my high sensitivity and being able to embrace it and to communicate about it and to tell my family, because we live together all the time, we homeschool, we all my husband and I both work from home, to be able to say, right now, I am in sensory overload. Right now, I need to be in my room with music in my ears and not see anyone or any movement around me for at least 30 minutes because I need to regulate myself. But like you can't say that if you
Mhm.
haven't accepted that this is how you're wired.
Absolutely. Um, I mean, yeah, there's so much truth in what resonates and what you shared there as well. Like sensitivity is a scale. Everyone is in some way a little bit sensitive, but about 20% of the population is highly sensitive. And what you said there also is beautiful of accepting and even embracing it. It becomes a strength. Whereas it's so unfortunate that so many of us were raised to believe that sensitivity is a weakness. Like, oh, you're too sensitive, you're too dramatic, you're too this, you're too that. But truly, like, when you can communicate what you need and other people also are accepting and understanding of it, it's beautiful. Like, you're honoring your energy, and then it creates room and space for you to feel all the amazing strengths of being highly sensitive, like noticing things that other people don't notice, even in nature, like noticing, the leaves falling down from the trees or the way the sunlight is shining through the leaves. And the empathy is really big for highly sensitive people as well. Like, you can empathize with other people. And so when you accept and embrace your sensitivity, it shifts from this thing that makes you different in a bad way to something that maybe makes you different in a very cool way. And I love to hear that, you've
Yeah.
accepted that as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this. You talked a little bit about burnout as something that we discussed before going live, and we were mentioning how often there's some misunderstanding or wrong beliefs around what it means to be burned out, the signs of burning out. You know, a lot of people, for instance, believe, and I believe that myself before it happened to me,
Mhm,
that burnout comes from uh, working too much or not really being aligned with your work. And I think I did believe that not so much through what I read, but more through the first burnout I went through. That was actually me not being aligned with my job at all. And
mhm.
I hold this anxiety because I felt, it was a quarter life crisis, I guess, when I was 20, like in this job, and you're like, oh my God. And I hate it with a passion, but I thought I would like it. And what's wrong
Mhm,
with me? Because
mhm,
everyone else seems to be able to put up with a job that they mightily love, or it's okay, it pays the it's not horrible. I'm not like, doing something complete. I was a secretary for lawyers, It's not like it's completely, but to me it really,
mhm,
really was. I feel like I was selling my soul, that I was not, like I wasn't agreeing with their values or whatever. So I thought, okay, burnout is when you're doing something you don't like. So the second burnout was 20 years later almost. I'm maybe not counting well, but I'm not good at math. Um,
Me
but
either.
it was in 2022, and my son was a year and a half, and I did something similar to you. And my son is my second child, and we're homeschooling, so it's already like kind of a busy family, let's say. When I was pregnant with him in 2020, he was born in February 2021. I thought, I'm going to take 3 weeks off my business, and then I'll be back. Everything will be fine. That's why it's another point of what you said. I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like I work from home. What could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's quite incredible that I still managed to keep my business running for a year before I burnt out. But the burnout there was kind of, yes, too much work, but mostly too much pressure, because it was the pressure, like you were saying before, the pressure of being a good parent, of homeschooling in a good way, of being present for my daughter as well, that is 9 years older than my son. The pressure of making money in my business and providing for my family, the pressure of being a good coach, the pressure of having enough knowledge to help my clients, the pressure of doing good marketing and making sure that
Mhm,
not only do I have clients now, but I have clients also in 9 months. To me, it was the pressure. And I think that it kind of caught me by surprise, because that's not really the main story of what it's shared around what causes burnout.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, the way I like to say it is that burnout doesn't just happen because you're doing too much. It happens because you're disconnected from your needs. And so alignment is definitely part of that. Like, in your first burnout, it's like, okay, your values didn't align with the job you had. That makes sense. But even in the second time that you burnt out, that pressure is a disconnect from what you need. You need less pressure. You need fewer of those expectations telling you how to be. And so when you're listening to the expectations and the pressure over what you really need, that causes burnout. And that's really the core of it of you can be doing a bunch of stuff and love your job and feel like everything is aligned, but if something is off, if you're still wired to work on or push through, for example, when you're tired and say, okay, there's this deadline, this timeline, I have to meet it, even though everything in your body is telling you that you need a break, that can still lead to burnout. And so you're right, it's not just alignment, it's being disconnected from what you really need.
Mm.
Um, and the other piece you said there about, taking a few weeks away, that definitely is one of the biggest misunderstandings I think about burnout. Because in reality, it takes meaningfully changing your patterns and again, connecting to what you truly need, not just going back and operate the way you were operating. A change needs to be made, and that change is listening to your needs and what works for you, how you can operate effectively in that environment. Um, I mean, it'd be great if we could take a few weeks off and feel completely better, but and some people tell themselves that they do, and maybe they do temporarily, but they're going to start feeling those symptoms of burnout again, the exhaustion, the disconnection, and because they're operating in a way where they're not listening to what they actually need.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I was sharing with you that in the second burnout, I mean my first decision then was to take 5 years off. I took 2 years off and then came back because, at some point I did miss being my own person and not depend on anyone
Mhm.
else,
Yeah.
financially, and I did feel better. But like you were saying, those 2 years is not just, "Oh, now I'm gonna rest." It's I did rest, I slept so much, oh my god, every time my son had a nap, I was napping with him. Um, but it's such a deep rewiring of everything. Of my brain, but more than that, it's finding safety in not being productive.
Mhm.
It's, disconnecting my worth from what I do
Mhm.
and finding value in, I'm just still that word, I'm just raising my kids, which
Mhm.
is already a full-time job, really.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what would you say about, let's say someone is going through burnout or has gone through burnout recently and they're thinking, okay, so how do I now get better? What do I need to get better if it's not just rest?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the most important thing there is that rest is still crucial. It's still important because that rest is going to give you, ideally, the space to start listening to what you really need. And I think it's a bit about shifting your mindset from like, I need to get better and I need to get better fast to taking small steps, maybe it's every day or every week, just towards being able to rest and listen to yourself will make the most meaningful, sustainable change in how you feel in your life. There is
Mm,
no quick fix. There's nothing that's going to make you feel better faster and sustain you in the long run. It's really about taking the time. It can even be 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day to be still or, even walk without any distractions and give the space for you to actually hear yourself and what you need. And yes, that might feel uncomfortable at first. Actually, it most likely will feel uncomfortable. And then, the hard feelings might come, the crying, like I was crying every day when I was
me
on my
too.
leave for sure. Yeah. They are likely going to come, and that's actually a good thing. It's
Yeah.
accepting that it's going to be hard, it's going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. You're going to get through it. Just keep finding the small moments where you can listen to what you really need. And you'll start noticing, what am I telling myself versus what are all those expectations telling me?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah, I love that. And it's making me think about what I'm myself not going through, but experimenting with right now. So I'm having a lot of physical symptoms. There's been a few people in my world I know, like maybe 2, 3 months that, it's like just maybe it's perimenopause, maybe whatever. It's a bit of a lot of different symptoms that are difficult to pinpoint to one thing. But okay,
Yep.
there's also grief. I've lost my dad like 2 years ago. I went back to work right after.
Wow.
I do recognize their coping mechanism of having to take my life into my own hands, absolutely.
Mhm.
But recently I decided to reduce my working days to 4 days a week. I say it's really new, it's like 3 weeks ago. First week, oh wow, it's amazing. I have a 3-day weekend. Symptoms are subsiding. It's wonderful. Second week, third week. Why am I so sad and anxious? And it seems like it's something similar. I just recognize it faster this
Yeah.
time. To being like, it's not really burnout. It's just I don't feel burned out. I feel that I haven't had the proper space I haven't given myself the proper space to listen to everything my body has been carrying in terms of emotions, and having that day that I'm fighting hard with another part of myself not to fill with another kind of great project that I probably will find, because the
Mhm.
brain is really good at finding things to fill all the spaces. To use that day to actually, yeah, just be present, with myself. Talking about parts, you use that language. You said there's a part of us. Do
Yes.
you work with IFS?
Yes. So part of my training, um, I don't actually do IFS with clients, but I'm informed on IFS. So integrated family systems, for anybody who doesn't know. And highly sensitive people, um, they are more likely to have more parts. And so when we say parts, does it make sense that I go into the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
description?
No, but
Okay.
no, I have studied IFS as well, and
Okay.
I tell yes, yes, makes sense.
So add in anything that I may miss here, but um, so when we were born, we're basically born as our whole true self. And over time, as we grow older, we build parts of ourselves that protect us. It doesn't mean they're bad, they're actually very good in a lot of ways. So, for example, maybe you grow up being highly sensitive and it's not really accepted. People are telling you, don't be weird. That was a big one for me. Don't be weird. Don't be too sensitive. Don't be a baby. And so you build a part of yourself, which is pretty cool, to protect you, to say, okay, I won't be weird. I won't be too sensitive. I'm going to act the way that I need to act to stay loved, to stay
Mm,
accepted, to stay safe. And so it's actually a pretty cool thing that our systems do for us. The problem comes when, we're 30 years old and we no longer rely on that situation or those people for our love, safety, or acceptance, but it's still there telling us what to do. Those voices, those parts of us that we've built, were built on interactions with others, expectations with others, but we don't always need those when we're older and we're in a different situation completely. And so it's about identifying what I see is so helpful is starting to notice, okay, is this a part of me? Does this sound like maybe it was an expectation from someone else? Or is this like part of my true self, like my whole
mm,
being?
mm.
Um, so yeah, that the parts I find it so interesting because like I highly sensitive people, we have so many parts, so many parts that we built. Um, and
It's
I'm
very
just
interesting work. I love journaling with the parts, and I have full conversations. Like it feels like I have multiple personalities, but
same.
it feels like okay. So I'm talking to an ambitious side of me versus the part that doesn't want to be seen and the people please, etc., etc. It's really really
Mhm.
interesting work to do, because every time I think we have these conversations, and I mean, we can't go into too many details in such a
Yeah.
short interview, but every time we do have conversations with the different parts of us, it kind of puts us again in the awareness that this is the true self versus the people pleaser, for instance.
Mhm.
So I can identify as me talking to that part of myself that is surely there to protect me, but also is maybe
Mhm.
overdoing it a bit.
Yep.
And it's really connecting to what we were saying earlier. You were saying, how burnout is caused by not listening to our needs, and it's probably again a part of us telling us not to listen to our needs because we need to perform a certain way to be safe. We're always looking for that safety, whatever that means. It's emotional safety, physical safety, mostly emotional safety, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
It's so interesting to have this conversation. I think we could we
No, I
could keep
know.
going for
Yeah.
hours. So to conclude, because we're reaching the 30 minutes, tell us, Kathleen, how can people start their journey of reconnecting to themselves or embracing their sensitivity, overcoming burnout with you? What kind of support do you offer?
Yeah. Well, if anybody's interested to learn more, I have a website, resetwithkathleen.ca. But really, my goal is to be like the professional version of my friend who helped guide me through burnout. Because so often we're tired of having people tell us what to do.
Mm,
We are living based on expectations constantly. And to be able to sit with somebody who understands your experience, can empathize with it, understand it without judgment, and just create a safe space for you to start listening to yourself is incredibly impactful. That's the support I had during my burnout journey. And I do the same now for other people and other women.
I love
Um,
that. You're like a burnout doula.
do you know what? I never thought of it like that, but I love that explanation of it.
Let's go through the journey together.
Yeah,
Out
yeah,
of the cave
yeah.
and back to your rebirth.
I'll virtually hold your hand through it all. I'll be there encouraging you. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do because we're tired of that. We don't need anybody else
Yeah,
telling us exactly what to do. We need to start hearing what we need. And so that's my goal. That's the space I want to create.
lovely. Yes. And so on Substack, you have a publication
Mhm.
that is called.
Less noise, yeah, less noise, more you, which is all
Love that.
about
Very
listening
aligned.
to
Yes.
other people. Exactly.
As a brand, and like very on brand. Really good.
Thank
Good
you.
title.
Thank you. That's good.
Okay, lovely. So we'll add all the links. I mean, the live here will be published as a replay on Substack. We'll add the links to you. Is there something else you'd like to share? Maybe a word of encouragement for anyone listening to us?
Yeah, I mean, I no matter what you're feeling right now, um, it matters and you're not making it up. I think that's a big one too. So just know that you're not alone in it and um, yeah, you're not alone. I think that's a big
Yeah,
one, you're not alone.
I love that. I love that because there's so much
Mhm.
shame, I think, and guilt around, not feeling like we should be feeling. And like I was, mentioning, for me, it was like, what's wrong with me? Everyone seems to be able to go on, and I cannot. Everyone has figured out, but me. They all know what to do with their lives, but I don't know right now. It's just which is silly. We never know what goes on in people's mind, but it's
It's true.
I love what you share. Like, you're not making it up, and It's important. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
thank you,
time, your
Jessica.
energy, your gentle, soft energy. It's a pleasure to speak with you. And yes, we'll connect soon. For those of you listening to the podcast, if you enjoyed it or you have questions for Kathleen, you can leave a comment, send me a DM, or send her a DM, because I also add her profile to the description of the podcast. And until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Jessica.